hopefully you've calmed down from last week. But World Rugby came out yesterday and moved to clarify, I suppose officially clarify their stance on the proposals for the new Nations Championship. Maybe you could quickly kind of give a brief synopsis of what they said, because it's been difficult to keep up with all the counterclaims and that over the last kind of 7 days. So what have they come out and said?
Yeah, so they've come out and said they're in favour of promotion and relegation in this new Nations Championship. That's the name, if everyone can stick to that from now on. We were calling it World League, World Nations League. The Nations Championship starting in 2022 is their proposal. They distributed a video that they had used for some market research. They canvassed about a couple of thousand people in the UK and France to see if they support this idea, and I think the positive reaction was encouraging to them, and the unions as well were shown this proposal. So basically 12 teams in the top tier, as we mentioned last week, 12 teams in the tier below that, and then another tier, another conference below that even. So there's a couple of pathways in. Promotion and relegation playoffs, so the team who finishes bottom of the top tier will play off against the winners of the second tier for an opportunity to get promoted. I guess people should watch the video. It explains it quite concisely. It's on World Rugby's Twitter account. But I think the really interesting point for us is that it would mean relegation from the Six Nations.
Sure.
Which obviously is going to be a massive sticking point. And from what we understand is really the sticking point. World Rugby have kind of passed the buck in their statement. They said there are some unions who are not in support of promotion relegation. And look, if we're looking at Six Nations, I think we can probably all guess. And certainly the word is that it's Italy and Scotland who are concerned about being relegated, because Italy would obviously be straight up for relegation. And the way it would work out actually is that they would be relegated possibly if they performed poorly in the first year, and then they'd actually spend 2 years outside the top tier of the Six Nations and that tier 1 competition in November and July, because in World Cup years there won't be promotion and relegation. So in 2023 they wouldn't have a chance to bounce back up. So that's obviously hugely concerning for them, and you can't see how they are going to vote for that. Why would the Italian Union vote for relegating themselves essentially? Because that would be what they would be expected to happen. I guess you're going to have to appeal for them to look to the greater good of the game. But when money's involved, when their progress in the game is involved, it's going to be really tricky. So that's going to be a major sticking point in this.